Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. We're about to embark on one of television's most extensive investigations into the paranormal. We guarantee no tricks, no camera illusions and no practical jokes. If we find nothing, then you'll see nothing. But if we do manage to catch anything at all, we will share it with you honestly and leave it up to you to make up your own mind. While we were in the West Country, we came across one of the strangest hauntings we've ever heard of and just had to investigate. We've come to Athelhampton Hall near Dorchester to spend 24 hours in search of the truth.
There's been a manor at Athelhampton for over 1,000 years, but parts of the present building date back to the Middle Ages. Its history is a checkered one. From a fine manor house, it fell into disrepair as a tenant farm, but was restored to its former glory by the Cook family, who still live here today. If the books are anything to go by, Athelhampton is one of the 10 most haunted houses in England.
This is no ordinary haunted house, and the brave souls that will be spending the night with me to face the unknown are the crew. Here they all are. Say hello, crew. Hello. They've got no idea what they're letting themselves in for. Now, if we do catch any paranormal activity on camera, somebody that will be looking for hard evidence is, of course, our parapsychologist, Jason Carl. Now, Jason, what sort of things do you try to find?
Well, we're looking for hard evidence, Yvette. I mean, I'm not looking for anecdotal encounters of people saying they've seen something. I want corroborated evidence, so that's things on equipment, that's 2 or 3 people seeing the same thing at once.
So what sort of equipment are you going to be using tonight?
Well, today, one of the things that I want to sort of focus on is an EMF meter. This is the most common ghost hunting gadget that you can get, really. This tests the electromagnetic field, which exists everywhere. Everything has a field which is quite low. If the field rises, this will tell us that. And if I can rule out any natural reasons for the rise in the EMF fluctuations, that may indicate that a ghost or spirit or something anyway is happening.
Now, there's supposed to be 7 ghosts here, and one of them is an ape.
That's right.
Strange.
It's an unusual one. I mean, most people think of ghosts as being humans, people walking around. But there are just as many reported sightings of alleged ghost encounters of animals, also even of transportation, buses and cars, and of houses as well. So it's not just humans.
Also, is it true to say that ghosts don't like lights?
Well, if you accept that ghosts exist, we can only look at it from statistics. And over the last 10 years, we have seen, through investigations that we've done all over the world, that more unusual occurrences or unexplainable occurrences occur when the lights are off. So yes, if you want something to happen, in order to make them, sort of increase the likelihood, you turn the lights off.
Now, we're going to be meeting our spiritual medium, Derek Okora, later on. What are you going to be looking for in Derek?
I'm going to be looking for Derek to come up with names, dates, precise and small details, which may seem irrelevant, that we can check. Things that he couldn't have known in advance. I mean, Derek doesn't know where he's coming, so we need very small, intricate pieces of information that he couldn't possibly have known, which I can check with the owner, and later on, perhaps then that will show that what he's doing is something other than remembering facts. We want more evidence than that.
Okay. And of course, he is the last member of our team, and he's actually on his way to the location now, and we've given him no information whatsoever of Athelhampton Hall, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see what he comes up with.
Well, the Cook family moved here in 1957. My grandfather bought the house. He was a surgeon by profession, but he wanted to retire to a house where he could house his antiques collection. And I think he had a taste for something a little bit different as well. I think having lived here for 30 years, there have been certain sort of spine-chilling moments. But I don't think I've ever seen a ghost myself, but I do sort of feel the place has quite a presence. And even my son, who's age 3, has already picked up certain sort of vibes about certain bits of the house being spooky.
It all started when I was pregnant with our first little boy, George. And what worried me most is that it was actually seemed to be very much concentrating on me, and it was a constant presence all the time. And I suppose you could argue I was emotional and hormonal and everything else, but it got very, very oppressive. I had terrible nightmares. I couldn't sleep at night. The first time I put him in his cot when he was 3 weeks old, I bent over the cot and I felt something touch me on my shoulder, and that really frightened me. I actually asked somebody to bless that part of the house and find out what it was, and she found that it was a child, a little girl. She said that she thought it was probably 16th century, this little girl. And I thought that was actually quite sad that it had gone on that long without anybody sort of doing anything about it. And yet also quite pleased and thankful that I had actually asked, even though I felt a bit stupid at the time.
Plenty of people have told me they've sort of seen things, but I think that they always have a little bit of a wry smile when they say it. But the monkey is the ghost that sort of always intrigues me, because this idea of a little pet monkey used to roam around the house, sort of quite free, and then when the Martins died, he was looking for his new master. I find that quite spooky.
Patrick's a cynic anyway, so he's kind of not open to anything, whereas I'm a little bit more, I believe more about ghosts and things.
This is the Great Hall, and it's the oldest room in the house. Now, it used to be used as the living room, the dining room, and the bedroom by every member of the household. Now, there are supposed to be two ghosts here, seen in the evening time, fighting a duel before they both sit down to have an evening meal together.
This tiny chapel has been described as the epicentre of paranormal activity of this particular building. One theory is it's the gateway from this world to the next.
The most unusual ghost here at Athelhampton Hall is that of an ape. Now, it was the family pet of the Martins in the 1500s, and the story goes that the ape was trapped in a secret passageway behind the walls, and often it can be heard scratching to get out. The most reported ghost here is that of the Grey Lady, who walks through the passageways and comes into this bedroom. A housemaid once mistook her for a member of the public, and when she asked the Grey Lady to leave, she obligingly stood up and disappeared through the wall.
Our spiritual medium, Derek Akora, had arrived. Now remember, he's been given no prior information about the whereabouts or history of Athelhampton. Just to get us all in the mood, what could be better than ghost stories around the fire, and to ask questions that intrigue some members of the crew.
Derek, do you think it's a good idea to have your house blessed?
Well, I personally don't believe that they should be moved on. I would say leave it to them whether they want to move on or not. As long as they're not hurting us or bothering us, and we're quite happy for them to be around us.
It's interesting as well that you ask whether it's a positive thing or not. And if you look at case histories where people have had a house blessed or exorcised, in a lot of cases, the people have reported that in fact it has disturbed them, hasn't moved them on. To give them a blessing is all fair and well if that's your belief, but it may not be the religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs of the person who is the ghost.
Yeah, they resent it.
They resent it because, you know, they look at themselves generally 9 times out of 10. They know they've left a physical body, they're in a spirit body, but they know they still exist.
Is it true that animals can actually see ghosts, or is that just a myth?
Oh, it's not a myth, Rick. It's very true. Because they've not got the intellect and they don't use the brain like us people, and they go off their pure senses anyway.
Can I interrupt you? I'm sorry, but can you just look at Alfie? What is he looking at? Because he's not looking at me, and I know that sounds bad, but he's looking in between me and Rick.
Yes, he's transfixing his eyes, isn't he? Yeah.
Does he see his reflection in the lens?
No,
He's not looking at the camera.
Yeah,
Oh,
look, yeah.
What can
Yeah.
you see?
Yeah. Yeah. He's aware. Look at him.
Oh, good God, what's
Okay.
here?
No, it's really straining. I have a job to hold.
He's seeing it, yeah.
Why is he looking?
He's seeing an ape. It's an ape. It's a monkey.